Bulgaria, a European Union country of over 6 million people, has strong growth potential, with its industrial base, educated workforce and proximity to major markets. Despite these advantages, Bulgaria's economy has stalled. So why can't it grow? Issues like brain drain and political instability are constant barriers, but neighboring countries like Romania, Poland and Baltic states have all faced similar challenges, but they still manage to outpace Bulgaria. It's as if there are some sort of magical economic roadblocks that are keeping Bulgaria from breaking past the middle income status. Surprisingly, even newer European Union members have surpassed Bulgaria, and some non-European nations are quickly catching up. So the main question is, why can't Bulgaria's economy grow? To really understand current challenges, it is helpful to learn about Bulgaria's economic history. Bulgaria's economy has a harsh history. Before World War II, Bulgaria had quite small industrial sector. The country's main output was agriculture, and the industrial output was mainly coming out of big cities like Sofia, Plovdiv, Rius, Varna and Burgas. After World War II, Bulgaria fell under the Soviet Union's influence and underwent excessive industrialization, adopting the Soviet-style 5-year planning model. The first plan, which happened between 1949 to 1953, aimed to build a heavy industrial base and increase industrial output by over 100% in some areas. More and more 5-year plans took place. However, since the 1960s, one thing was visible. Bulgaria could not sustain their growth. The lack of labor power, coupled with declining productivity in industrial sector, meant that Bulgaria had to make some serious changes. Economic reforms in the early 1960s proved to be insufficient, as the countries lacked enough hard currency to fund necessary machinery imports. Bulgaria's economic decline became apparent in 1973. At that time, Bulgaria had $0.1 billion deficit, that quickly grew to $0.8 billion deficit by 1975. Rising international raw material prices forced the country to accumulate debt, which increased from $743 million in 1971 to $4.5 billion by 1979. When the Soviet Union's economy began to decline in the 1980s, Bulgaria's economy followed suit, ultimately collapsing in 1990, marking the new beginnings. The new beginnings of 1990s capitalistic Bulgaria could give us some similarities to the situations that the country is in today. If we compare Bulgaria and Poland, we can see lots of similarities, as in both of those countries were mainly under the Soviet Union's influence and both of them practiced centrally planned economy. However, after their systems collapse, Poland, on which we made a video about, handled this situation in much more efficient and appropriate manner. The transition of power in Poland was gradual and smooth compared to Bulgaria. While Poland had peaceful transfer of power that was talked about between the communist government and the opposition, Bulgaria's change was due to collapse of the regime. It took much more time for Bulgaria to essentially balance itself out, as in stop the hyperinflation and start looking towards joining the European Union. Poland joined the European Union in 2004 and Bulgaria joined it in 2007. While 3 years could appear like a small difference, we have to remember that the Eurozone crisis, which happened in 2009, heavily damaged the economy of Europe.
As fear continues to spread over the impact of the Greek debt crisis, more people are questioning how such a small country could impact markets around the world.
Bulgaria's biggest export partner, Greece, was heavily damaged by the debt crisis, which had heavy impact on Bulgaria's export value. However, despite all of this, Bulgaria should still have grown much quicker, considering that the country had a really small economy at the time. However, it did not, which brings us to chapter 3. What stops Bulgaria from growing? While Bulgaria has seen some growth in past decades, it is worth mentioning that it grew relatively slower compared to other nations in similar positions, including Poland, Romania, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia and the Czech Republic. The true reason behind Bulgaria's lackluster economic performance is a mix of multiple different reasons. Firstly, Bulgaria wasn't exactly a stable nation when they joined the European Union. The country was dealing with a bunch of corruption issues, so even when the European Union gave the money to Bulgaria, it is possible that money might not have been used in maximum efficiency. On the other hand, Bulgaria suffers a lot from constant emigration issues. It is a lot easier for Bulgarians to emigrate to the Eurozone for easier job opportunities. United Nations expects Bulgaria's population to shrink by at least 20% by 2050, making it one of the fastest shrinking populations in the world. This has led to some terrible results, where Bulgaria needs 300,000 foreign workers just to solve the worker shortage, and with such huge worker shortages, it will be getting harder and harder for the economy to grow. However, the next reason might triumph all the other reasons. The main problem that Bulgaria is now facing is the political crisis. The government can't be formed. While that might be oversimplification, basically no coalition or party managed to get majority of the control of the parliament since 2021. This ended up being one of the terrible things that have happened to Bulgaria. To really understand how bad the political crisis is, we should understand that Bulgaria had 7 parliamentary elections, and they are now heading towards having 8 snap elections. This has been happening since 2021.
Russian and far-right sentiment. Only 2 of the 6 general elections since 2021 have produced an elected government. However, they both collapsed after trying to introduce reforms and cut.
Now, to compare it, 8 elections should have happened in 32 years, but Bulgaria held first election in April 2021, followed by July 2021 and November 2021. At this time, one of the parties finally managed to make a coalition together. However, that only lasted for a few months. Next elections were called in October 2022, April 2023, June 2024 and October 2024. Needless to say, Bulgaria still failed to elect a stable coalition or party, so now they are heading towards having an 8th snap election. The political instability has contributed a lot towards Bulgaria's stagnation, because government is essentially rendered useless at receiving and using funds given out by European Union. This ended up showing one of the terrible statistics where only 4% of the European Union funds have been spent since 2021. Now we must remind ourselves that we are talking about billions of euros that Bulgaria could have received and spent, essentially kickstarting new industries or upgrading existing ones. But for now, that seems quite impossible to do so without a stable government. Foreigners are now less willing to directly invest in Bulgaria, and with such huge problems, we might need to ask ourselves, could Bulgaria eventually overcome those problems and become one of the fastest growing economies on the continent? Bulgaria is in a weird position because it has all of the resources to kickstart one of the fastest growing economies in the world. However, they can't physically allocate those resources. If Bulgaria somehow managed to solve the political crisis, then it will be really easy for them to allocate the European Union funds in key industries, essentially boosting the industrial output. But it is easier said than done, because even if most parties have the same aim, as in grow industries and solve the corruption issues, several disagreements on key points are making it harder for them to collaborate together. This problem pretty much halted one of the most important parts of the country, the fiscal and monetary policies. The country is now pretty much stopped in tracks in terms of introducing meaningful reforms. However, if Bulgaria managed to elect a stable governmental body, then it is entirely possible that the country's economy will grow at faster rates. Hey, thank you for watching our videos. If you have enjoyed this, please subscribe so you will not miss out on our future uploads.